We are supposed to stay indoors. Now that's all very well and good, but what if something comes to your door? As the world begins to lock down, many people have turned to deliveries to get the supplies they need, but that presents a new problem. Can you get COVID-19 from a delivery? It's one of the world's most Googled topics right now, and I'm not surprised. People want answers. We actually have a delivery coming to our apartment today, so we also want answers. I just want to make sure we're not bringing any virus inside with us, as that sort of defeats the whole point of self-isolation. A recent study in the New England Journal of Medicine found that the virus was more stable on stainless steel and plastic than on copper and cardboard. Cardboard is obviously what a lot of packages are contained in, and the study found that no trace of the virus could be found on the cardboard after 24 hours. That doesn't sound so bad, because obviously most packages take more than a day to be delivered, but there are some things to bear in mind here. Firstly, if the person who physically brings it to your door has the virus, then they could contaminate your package. Amazon and UPS announced they would increase the intensity and frequency of the cleaning they do at their centers and on their vehicles. UPS and FedEx also said they would stop requiring in-person signatures for most deliveries. The second thing to remember is that these tests were done in a lab, and the viruses were actually grown in a buffer solution. In the real world, you're likely to find the virus in a mucus substance, which makes it more stable than it would be in a lab. Therefore, it could last longer on any given surface than the results would imply. The World Health Organization said that the likelihood of an infected person contaminating commercial goods is low, and the risk of catching the virus that causes COVID-19 from a package that has been moved, traveled, and exposed to different conditions and temperature is also low. But even if the risk is low, it's probably good to try and reduce it even further through your own action. At least that would make me feel better. Ewan Tovey is a research scientist and associate professor at the University of Sydney. In an article published in The Conversation, he said that the best action you can take is to keep your distance from the delivery person, to wipe down the package before opening it, and to wash your hands after disposing of the packaging. Alright, so even though the risk isn't that great, this is going to be my plan for when the package arrives today. I'm going to wipe the package down outside, I'm going to bring it in and place it on a towel, then I'm going to wash my hands, then I'm going to open the package with gloves, wash my hands again, remove the contents, dispose of the packaging, and then wash my hands again. And maybe I'll wipe down the contents. We'll see how I feel. Okay, as you can see, I have my gloves on because we've just got the message saying that the delivery has arrived, which means it's probably outside as we speak. So yeah, got my gloves ready, and it's time to go and put those other tips I just talked about into action. Let's see. So I did end up finding a pair of plastic gloves to wear for this. So I put them on and I went outside and found the package. Obviously the delivery person wasn't there, so I didn't have to worry about keeping my distance from them. I put some disinfectant spray onto a little bit of damp kitchen roll. I gave it a wipe down. It was a bit difficult because it had been on the floor, so it felt a little bit counterintuitive. So eventually I just decided to bring it inside. So I laid it out on the towel and began to open it up with a knife. In my original steps, I said that I was going to wash my hands after placing it on the towel and wash my hand before I remove the contents, but I figured since I did end up finding some gloves that it wasn't necessary to wash my hands at that point. But as soon as I had finished unpacking everything, I immediately took all of the packaging and took that outside and put it straight into the recycling. After that, I took off my gloves and disposed of them, and then I gave my hands a really good scrub. I washed them for the full 20 seconds. Like I said before, I did originally plan to wash my hands between each of the different steps, but because I was wearing gloves, I felt like I only really needed to do it before I started and afterwards. Well, there you go. I did everything I could with the tools that I have, but there's only really so much you can do. It did make me feel better to do those things, but really only for a sense of control. Personally, I do feel like it's perhaps a little bit redundant just because so many experts seem to be saying that the risk is so low anyway. The steps I think you can take are to wipe down packages, especially if the delivery person isn't wearing gloves, to keep your distance from delivery people as much as you can, just like you would anyone at this time, to wash your hands once you have opened your mail or package, and to dispose of the packaging immediately once you've opened it. Dr. Lloyd Smith is one of the authors of the study that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. He said the bottom line is that there is some hypothetical risk of viable viruses surviving on mail, but given the time periods involved, this seems like a pretty minimal risk to the general public. So be sensible, wash and wipe when you can, but don't go crazy and start dipping every delivery that comes to your door in bleach. I don't think it's quite that bad.